Welcome in to Saints Now. I am Will Scott, and I have a feeling you are all going to enjoy today's show because we're talking about possible Pete Carmichael replacements if he gets fired. Do you want Pete Carmichael to get fired? Why for yes, in for no? Down in the comment section, go down, let me know what you think. Do you think the Saints should fire their OC? And if they do, who could replace him? We're going to talk about some notable names here in a second. I think a lot of you are going to get excited about some of the names we are going to discuss, but Carmichael certainly on the hot seat, and his status kind of up in the air for next year after the Saints offense put up these numbers in 2022. 22nd in scoring offense, 19th in yards per game, 10th in yards per play, 15th in third down percentage, 21st in red zone scoring percentage. And Trace, the Saints lost a lot of close games this year, and I think we can contribute that to the red zone play calling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the play calling just all around, not good. You're not running screen passes with Alvin Kamara. You're not getting the ball to Taysom Hill and having him carry the ball multiple times a game. You're not utilizing Rashid Shaheed until the way he could have been used until very late in the season. There's a lot of issues. Yes, the players at a certain point have to get their job done, and they have to do their job. But I also am a firm believer that a lot of this boils down to coaching. You got to figure that out. You got to get that in order. And at the end of the day, it's disappointing when you can't figure that part out. You were under Sean Payton. You sat around and you learned from him for years. Did you pick up nothing? I think I can speak for everybody when I say play calling, biggest joke of the season this year, and just the offensive coordinator, the biggest thing that has to get fixed.
Trace, what stands out to you looking at this next graphic we're about to show about just looking around the division here?
It's my thoughts are just the fact that it's such a weak division and it's such a bad division. And these are the numbers that you compete against. In points per game for the Saints, 19.4, ranked 22nd in the NFL, 333 yards per game. Third down percentage, 40%. I mean, compared to the rest of the NFL, it's not amazing. And it's just, why is it so hard for the Saints to convert and to make things happen in terms of getting things moving on the offense? It's so frustrating and it's so upsetting, and I don't understand why Pete Carmichael continues to have poor play calling, have all these issues. Yes, he is bad. Yes, the NFC is weak. I just think that there's so many options out there that the Saints could explore. This is horrendously bad. You got to do something about this.
We're going to get into those candidates here in a second, but if you want the Saints to have a good offseason, like the video, it's going to be a big offseason for the Saints. They're probably going to trade Sean Payton, get back in to the first round. They might cut Michael Thomas. They might get a new quarterback. A lot of stuff going to happen for the Saints this offseason. We begin with number 5 here on our Carmichael replacements, and it's an internal candidate, Trace.
Yeah, Ronald Curry, quarterback's coach and passing game coordinator. He's a young mind. He's very talented. I think that he could be in the position to start taking steps. I think getting some a younger offensive mind and a hungry offensive mind is very important. Just like I think number 4, Brian Johnson, the Eagles quarterback's coach. You saw the development that he had with Jalen Hurts. This was an integral season for Jalen Hurts. He had to take the step. The Eagles did everything they could to put the necessary tools around him to succeed, and Brian Johnson was able to help Jalen Hurts take those steps and utilize those tools. You know what I'm saying?
And I'll say this: Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator in Philadelphia, he's in the mix for some head coaching gigs. In fact, absolutely. I do believe the Houston Texans are going to hire him based on the things I'm hearing from Houston. So if that happens, then he'll probably get promoted to the OC job in Philadelphia. But if Steichen does not get hired by the Texans or another team, then maybe Johnson will be in the mix here if Carmichael gets fired.
Absolutely.
Here is why you should subscribe to the channel. Look, we're going to have you covered throughout the entire Saints offseason. I think a lot of Saints YouTube channels take a break during the offseason. We don't sleep here at Chat Sports. We're going to have you covered throughout the entire offseason. News, rumors, draft, and more. And the more subscribers we get, that means the more content you're going to get, including live shows. Got some Saints videos by Saints fans. Producer Trey's a lifelong Saints fan. My family's from the boot. all about the Saints. 100% free as well. Daily videos around the Saints. A lot to look forward to this offseason, so be sure you're subscribed so you stay ready. Oh, this is my favorite candidate, Trace. This is my favorite candidate. I'm an LSU fan, so seeing Joe Brady on this list gets me pretty excited. So Joe Brady, of course, was the passing game coordinator when LSU won the national championship in 2019. He was responsible for that huge numbers jump for Joe Burrow. If you remember, in Joe Burrow's first year as the LSU quarterback, he was good, but he wasn't putting up huge numbers. Then Joe Brady comes in, and he creates the best offense we'll ever see. Then he goes and becomes the offensive coordinator in Carolina. And look, he just was not in a great position to succeed under Matt Rule. He did not have any good quarterbacks to work with on that roster. Now he's the quarterbacks coach for the Buffalo Bills, so that's where he's currently at. But I believe that if Pete Carmichael gets fired, the first hire should be to Joe Brady, who was on the Saints staff before he joined LSU. Bring Joe Brady back to the boot. That's my message for the New Orleans Saints. Number 2 on my list. He's in Thailand right now. I don't know how realistic it is, but Cliff Kingsbury, he is getting a lot of OC interest. But as Peter Schrager reported last week, he bought a one-way ticket to Thailand, Trace. He's living out his dream being in the Hangover 2 movie. So I don't know if he's coming back anytime soon, but I don't know. The Saints are an interesting spot because Dennis Allen's going to go into next season probably on the hot seat. So if the offense is performing well but the team is still not winning, then maybe Kingsbury could be in a position to get promoted to the head coach. So I don't know. Maybe he'll be interested in that job if it opens. But who is number 1 on our list here, producer Trace?
It's Frank Reich, former Indianapolis coach. He's a great offensive mind. I mean, look what he did with Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers. Yes, the Colts were bad this year, but everything about the Colts was bad this year. And similar to Cliff Kingsbury, I think that you could have Frank Reich come in and his job is offense, Dennis Allen's job is defense. You focus on one, you focus on the other, and there's no issues. So that way you can have all of your focus on that, and Dennis Allen doesn't have to worry about other things because, as we know, Dennis Allen.
Here's my thing with hiring Frank Reich. He would be the best coach on the team if you hire him. He would. Well, you might as well just make him the head coach.
Well, on top of that, think about it this way: if Dennis Allen, you don't like how he works, if you don't like him, and you run it back, and you hate what you got out of him, you have a pretty good successor, and you can get Frank Reich. And I mean, I don't want to say that Frank Reich can't get a head coach job or anything, but I feel like he might be in a position where he might have to settle and then, maybe take the step back up to a head coach position. I don't know.
He did interview with the Arizona Cardinals yesterday.
Yeah.
He's very much in the mix there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with Frank Reich. But he is going to be a hot commodity for an offense coordinator job if he doesn't get a head coaching job. So are these guys. Mike LaFleur, him and the Jets kind of mutually parted ways. Darrell Bevell, the quarterback's coach for the Miami Dolphins, he's getting a lot of interest right now. Keep in mind he was the interim head coach in Jacksonville, did a good job there after Urban Meyer was let go. So Bevell has interviewed for the Washington Commanders OC job as well as the New York Jets OC job. And then Todd Monken, a guy with NFL ties, obviously doing a great job as the OC over there with the 2-time reigning national champ Georgia Bulldogs. Now, who do you want to be the OC in 2023? You can say Pete Carmichael. I don't know how many of you are going to be down there in the comments saying that, but I'm saying Joe Brady. I know producer Trace might be saying Frank Reich. Go down in the comments. Let us know who do you want to be the OC in 2023. I think a lot of you want this guy to be the quarterback in 2023. That is Lamar Jackson. Now, his future with the Ravens is unknown following their playoff loss. Some believe a franchise tag and a trade is in the cards. That is by far the most likely option. He's just not going to walk somewhere in free agency without the Ravens getting something. And the Saints have been linked to Lamar because they are a team that really needs a quarterback trade.
Yeah, and we have to mention the fact that before you bring in Lamar Jackson, you have to get the offensive coordinator situation figured out. You have to know what you're doing, what your plan is offensively before you bring in a quarterback. Otherwise, you could be, shooting blanks with a great quarterback, but you have nobody. He doesn't know how to use them. So I will say it's important for them to figure it out. I would love Lamar Jackson to come to the Saints. I think it would be really, really fun. I think it would be a great addition to the team. And when you look at the numbers that he put up this year, I mean, considering he missed some time, like, not bad. Not bad numbers whatsoever, Will.
Did miss the last 6 games with a knee injury. I think he made the right call sitting out the playoff game. You know, I know that some people were like, oh, throw a brace on it. Well, look what happened to RG3. So Lamar's trying to get healthy. He's thinking long term. He's thinking about his contract. It is worth noting, Trace, that whoever trades for Lamar Jackson would have to give him a massive deal, probably in the $45 million per year range, if that trade is made. I don't know if I bet on the Saints landing Lamar Jackson, but you could do it at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code chat125. BetUS giving you a great deal, 125% deposit bonus. Here are the odds for Jackson's next team, courtesy of BetUS. You have the Saints plus 900. You know, that's actually a decent bet. I'll say that. That's a decent bet. You have the Patriots on there as the favorite. The Jets right behind them. Man, I hope he doesn't end up in Atlanta. That is not something that I would want. The Raiders, Niners, Commanders, Titans, Panthers, and Bucks all listed on there. The Dolphins not on there, which is a little bit surprising, but they have committed to Tua Tagovailoa to be their starter next year. Trace, I'm getting a little bit of goosebumps looking at this photo.
So I whipped this picture up. I made this picture, and I just want y'all to see what could be the offense. You said it's a lot of money. You said it's going to be expensive. Lamar Jackson more than likely will get tagged and traded.
Has the cap ever stopped Mickey Loomis before?
The cap isn't a thing. Money isn't a thing in the NFL. It doesn't exist. And I'm just saying, look at this picture. You're telling me that this doesn't get you freaking excited for a game, really excited for a season? I mean, I think that this would be such a fun addition, like a way to look at the offense, and it would be such an exciting. I mean, I just think it would be cool. I think it would be so cool.
Looking at this photo, I feel like Tyler Jones listening to Carrie Underwood.
Real ones know. Real ones know. But, hey, Lamar, you said it could happen. It's not extremely realistic, but I did a salary cuts cap video yesterday. If you look at the people you could cut Michael Thomas, you could get rid of Jameis Winston, you could get rid of multiple players that have a lot of money that you owe. I'm just saying, like you said, money doesn't exist. The salary cap isn't a real thing. And this is like a trade idea that we kind of threw together. The Saints would get Lamar Jackson. This is for the tag and trade. And so this is kind of the breakdown. First round pick this year pending the Sean Payton trade. So if you don't make the Sean Payton trade happen, it ain't happening. I can go ahead and say that. But you get the Sean Payton pick if you get a first round pick this year. 2024 first round pick for next year. Then you give next year's second round pick, and then the following year's second round pick. That way you still have
this might be enough.
A second round pick to deal with, but like this year, but you still get Lamar. You get the quarterback situation figured out. I don't know. I don't think it's a terrible trade idea. I'm curious as to what you think about it.
This makes the Saints a Super Bowl contender. That's all I know. And you're
spot the line.
And keep in mind, when the Texans traded Deshaun Watson, the Browns gave up 3 first-round picks in that deal. You would only be I know only is a strong word. You'd only be giving up 2.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference for me. So I do believe this trade would be worth it, and I think it actually might be enough to get this trade done. Would you trade for Lamar Jackson? T for trade, P for pass, down in the comments section. I know I would, but go down in the comments. Let me know what you think.